Ever wondered why some people are inexplicably drawn to toxic relationships like moths to a flame? Well, buckle up because we're about to unravel this intriguing conundrum. Toxic relationships, my friends, are not just about romantic entanglements gone sour. They can be friendships that drain you, family ties that strangle your peace, or workplace dynamics that just make you dread Mondays. They're the relationships that leave you feeling emotionally exhausted, repeatedly disrespected, or simply unhappy. Yet we see people, and sometimes ourselves, inexplicably pulled towards these emotional black holes. Why, you ask? Is it the thrill of the drama, the comfort in the chaos, the lure of the bad boy? Or is it the fear of being alone? As we journey through this discussion, we're going to delve into these questions. So hold on tight as we dive into the mystery of our attraction to toxic relationships. Brace yourself to dive into the mystery of our attraction to toxic relationships. Scene script. Picture this, the bad boy with a leather jacket riding a motorcycle and an attitude that screams trouble. Intriguing, isn't it? Now let's dive into the allure of the bad boy or bad girl stereotype. It's like a moth drawn to a flame, isn't it? We've all seen it, perhaps even lived it. The allure of danger, the thrill of unpredictability, the seduction of rebellion. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's exhausting. Here's a scenario for you. You're at a party and then there's this individual, standing aloof, exuding an air of mystery and rebellion. You're drawn in like a magnet to steel. But the reality is often a far cry from the fantasy. You see, the roller coaster ride of emotions, the constant uncertainty, the midnight apologies, they wear you down. And in the end, you're left asking yourself, was it worth it? And more often than not, the answer is a resounding no. As it turns out, the bad boy isn't so glamorous when you're picking up the pieces of your broken heart. Ever been on a roller coaster? The highs, the lows, the thrill. Some relationships are just like that. We all know the feeling, right? One day you're soaring, the next you're plummeting. The gut-wrenching twists, the exhilarating loops, the unexpected drops. It's all part of the ride. And let's not forget the queasy feeling in your stomach when you get off. That's what toxic relationships can feel like, a never-ending roller coaster of emotions. Think of it like this. Picture yourself on the world's most intense roller coaster. Now imagine riding it every single day. Sounds exhausting, doesn't it? That's what being in a toxic relationship can be like. It's a constant cycle of ups and downs, highs and lows, twists and turns. It's like being strapped in a ride you didn't sign up for, with no idea when or how to get off. And the worst part, there's no cotton candy at the end. Some people might enjoy roller coasters, but it's another thing entirely when your heart is the one on the ride. Chaos, disorder, drama. Sounds like a blockbuster movie, right? But what if it's your relationship instead? Now, picture this. A whirlwind romance, emotions running high, passionate disagreements followed by equally passionate reconciliations. Sounds thrilling, doesn't it? But this is where we need to pause and ask ourselves, is this thrill worth the emotional toll? You see, some of us find comfort in chaos. It's like being in a roller coaster ride, the ups and downs, the twists and turns, they can be addictive. But the thing about roller coasters is they're meant to be temporary. They're not designed for long-term living. Imagine living on a roller coaster day in and day out, the constant highs and lows, the unpredictability, the constant tension. It's exhausting, isn't it? But some of us, we get used to this chaos. It becomes our norm. It becomes our comfort zone. But here's the thing. Chaos might be entertaining on the big screen, but in real life, it's usually a recipe for disaster. So we've identified the problem. Now, what's the solution? How do we break this cycle? Well, breaking free from the grasp of toxic relationships can seem as challenging as escaping a labyrinth. But fear not. We've got you covered with a few strategies. Firstly, self-awareness is key. You know that old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's about time we put that into practice. Start recognizing patterns. If you find yourself repeatedly drawn to the same kind of unhealthy relationships, it's time to take a pause and reflect. Are we stuck on replay like a scratch CD playing the same annoying tune over and over? Time to change the disc, folks. Secondly, let's talk about the F word. Forgiveness, not for them, but for yourself. Did you mess up? Did you fall for the wrong person again? Well, it's okay. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them, so forgive yourself and move on. Remember, it's not about getting it right the first time. It's about not stopping until you get it right. Next up, we've got the power of choice. Just because you're attracted to someone doesn't mean you have to act on it. It's like seeing a delicious chocolate cake when you're on a diet. Sure, it's tempting, but you know it's not good for you. So you choose to say no. Apply the same principle in your relationships. Finally, surround yourself with positive influences. If you're constantly hanging out with people who are in toxic relationships, it's easy to normalize that behavior. So find friends who have healthy relationships and learn from them. They are the salad in a world full of chocolate cake. Breaking the cycle of toxic relationships isn't easy, but it's certainly worth the effort. After all, wouldn't you rather listen to a symphony than a scratched CD? Let's tune into healthier, harmonious relationships and turn the volume down on toxicity. What's the secret ingredient to breaking free from toxic relationships? Self-love, my friends. Picture this. You are a gourmet chef in a 5-star restaurant. Would you serve a dish you haven't tasted yourself? Of course not. Similarly, how can we expect others to love us if we don't love ourselves first? Let's think about a garden. If you don't water your plants, they'll wither. Self-love is like watering your soul. It's essential, it's nourishing, and it's something you have to do consistently. When you love yourself, you set a standard for how you want to be treated. You're less likely to accept less than you deserve because you know your worth. So invest in yourself. Take yourself out on a date, read a good book, do whatever makes you happy, because at the end of the day, you're the VIP of your life. Remember, loving yourself is the first step to ensuring that others treat you with respect and kindness. We've laughed, we've cried, and we've learned a lot about toxic relationships today. We've unearthed the magnetic pull of toxicity and the bad boy syndrome. We've taken a hard look at ourselves and discovered the thrill of the roller coaster ride and the strange comfort we find in chaos. We've seen how the allure of the bad boy or the drama queen, while seemingly irresistible, is often a guise for deeper, more complex issues. A disguise for our own insecurities, our fear of being alone, or our desperate need to fix the unfixable. We've journeyed through the tumultuous highs and lows of the roller coaster ride that toxic relationships often are. The constant ups and downs, the exhilarating peaks, and the devastating troughs, the chaos that we've learned to call home. And yet, amidst the chaos, we've found comfort, a peculiar comfort that lies in the familiar. The known devil is better than the unknown angel, they say, but we've also learned that this comfort is often a trap that keeps us locked in a cycle of toxicity. But most importantly, we've talked about breaking this cycle, about acknowledging our worth and stepping away from relationships that don't serve us. We've talked about the courage it takes to say no to toxicity and yes to healthier, more nurturing relationships. We've emphasized that self-love is the key, that loving ourselves is the first step towards demanding the respect and kindness that we deserve, that it is only when we love ourselves can we truly love others. And so as we draw to a close, let's remember these lessons. Let's remember that we are enough, just as we are, that we don't need to fix anyone or be fixed by anyone, that our worth is not defined by the relationships we are in, but by the love we have for ourselves. In the end, it's all about loving yourself enough to demand the respect and kindness you deserve. So, here's to healthier relationships in the future.